not to be just, but to rule, though with kindness and high-seated mercy, taking the world for our own and our will from our slaves and our subjects, smiting the proud and sparing the suppliant, Trojans, is conquest. Justice was base of thy government. Vainly, O statesman, thou liest. If thou wert just, thou wouldst free thy slaves and be equal with all men. Such were a dream of some sage at night, when he muses in fancy, imaging freely a flawless world where none were afflicted, no man inferior. All could sublimely equal and brothers live in a peace divine, like the gods in their luminous regions. This, O Antenna, were justice, known but in words to us mortals. But for the justice thou vauntest, enslaving men to thy purpose, setting an iron yoke, nor regarding their need and their nature, then to say, I am just, I slay not, save by procedure, rob not, save by law, is an outrage to Zeus and his creatures. Terms are these feigned by the intellect, making a pact with our yearnings, lures of the sophist within us, draping our passions with virtue. When thou art weak, thou art just. When thy subjects are strong, and remember. Therefore, O Trojans, be firm in your will, and though all men abandon, bow not your heads to reproach, nor your hearts to the sin of repentance. For you have done what the gods desired in your breasts, and are blameless. Proudly enjoy the earth that they gave you, enthroning their natures. Fight with the Greeks and the world, and trample down the rebellious. What you have lost, recover, nor yield to the hurricane passing. You cannot utterly die, while the power lives untired in your bosoms. When 'tis withdrawn, not a moment of life can be added by virtue. Faint not, for helpers fled. Though your yoke had been mild as a father's, they would have gone as swiftly. Strength men desire in their masters. All men worship success, and in failure and weakness, abandon. Not for his justice they clung to Teucer, but for their safety, seeing in Troy ahead and by barbarous foemen afflicted. Faint not, O Trojans, cease not from battle, persist in your labour, conquer the Greeks, your allies shall be yours, and fresh nations your subjects. One care only lodge in your hearts, how to fight, how to conquer. Peace has smiled out of Thea, a hand comes outstretched from the Hellene. Who would not join with the godlike? Who would not grasp at Achilles? There is a price for his gifts. It is such as Achilles should ask for, never this nation concede. Oh, Antenor's golden phrases glorifying rest to the tired and confuting patience and courage, garbed with the subtlety lacks and the hopes that palliate surrender. Charmed men applaud the skillful purpose, the dexterous speaker. This they forget, that a force decides, not the wiles of the statesman. Now let us yield, do you say? We will rise when our masters are weakened. Nay, then, our master's master shall find us an easy possession. Easily nations bow to a yoke when their virtue relaxes. Hard is the breaking fetters once worn, for the virtue has perished. Hope you, when custom has shaped men into the mould of a vileness, hugging their chains when the weak feel easier trampled than rising, or though they groan, yet have heart nor strength for the anguish of effort. Then to cast down whom, armed and strong, you were mastered opposing? Easy is lapse into uttermost hell. not easy salvation. Or have you dreamed that Achilles, this son of the gods and the ocean, aught else can be with the strong and the bold, save pursuer or master? Know you so little the mood of the mighty? Think you the lion only will lick his prey, that his jaws will refrain from the banquet? Rest from thy bodings, Antenor. Not all the valour of Troy perished with Hector, nor with Polydamas vision has left her. Troy is not eager to slay her soul on a pyre of dishonour. Still she has children left who remember the mood of their mother. Helen none shall take from me living. Gold, not a drachma, travels from coffers of Priam to Greece. Let another and older pay down his wealth if he will, and his daughters serve Menelaus. Rather, from Ilion I will go forth with my brothers and kinsmen. Troy I will leave, and her shame, and live with my heart and my honour, refuged with lions on Ida, or build in the highlands a city, or in an isle of the seas, or by dark-driven Pontic waters. Dear are the halls of our childhood. Dear are the fields of our fathers. Yet, to the soul that is free, no spot on the earth is an exile. Rather, wherever sunlight is bright, flowers bloom, and the rivers flow in their lucid streams to the ocean, there is our country. So will I live, in my soul's wide freedom, never in Troy shorn of my will and disgraced in my strength and the mock of my rivals. First had you yielded, shame at least had not stained your surrender. Strength indulges the weak. But what Hector has fallen refusing, men, what through 10 loud years we denied with the spear for our answer, that what Trojan will ever renounce, though his city should perish? Once having fought, we will fight to the end, nor that end shall be evil. Clamour the Argive spears on our walls? Are the ladders erected? Far on the plain is their flight, on the farther side of the Xanthus. Where are the deities hostile? Vainly the eyes of the tremblers see them stalking vast in the ranks of the Greeks, and the shoutings dire of Poseidon they hear, and are blind with the aegis of Pallas. Who then sustained so long this Troy, if the gods are against her? Even the hills could not stand, save upheld by their concert immortal. Now, not with Tydeus' son, not now, with Odysseus and Ajax trample the gods in the sound of their chariot wheels, victory leading. Argos falls red in her heaps to their sides. They shelter the Trojans. Victory unleashed follows and fawns upon Penthesilea. Ponder no more, O Ilion, city of ancient Priam. Rise, O beloved of the gods, and go forth in thy strength to the battle, not by the dreams of Laocoon, strung to the faith that is febrile, nor with the tremblings vain and the haunted thoughts of Antenor, but with a noble and serious strength and an obstinate valour. Suffer the shock of your foes, O nation chosen by heaven. Proudly determine on victory, live by disaster unshaken. Either fate receive like men, nay, like gods, nay, like Trojans. So, like an army that streams and that marches, speeding and pausing, drawing in horn and wing, or widen for scouting and forage, bridging the floods, avoiding the mountains, threading the valleys, fast with their flashing panoply, clad in gold and in iron, moved the array of his thoughts. And throughout, delight and approval followed their march, in triumph led, but like prisoners willing, glad and unbound to a land they desire. Triumphant he ended, lord of opinion, though by the aged frowned on and censured. But to this voice of their thoughts the young men vibrated wholly. Loud like a storm on the ocean mounted the roar of the people. "Cease from debate," men cried. "Arise, O thou warlike Aeneas. Speak for this nation. Launch like a spear at the tents of the Hellene, Ilion's voice of war." Then, up mid a limitless shouting, stern and armed, from his seat like a war god, helmed Aeneas rose, by King Priam approved, in this last of Ilion's sessions, holding the staff of the Senate's authority. "Silence, O commons! Hear and assent, or refuse as your right is, masters of Troia, ancient and sovereign people. Act that your kings have determined, sitting in council high, their reply to the strength of Achilles. Son of the Aeacids, vain is thy offer. The pride of thy challenge rather we choose. It is nearer to Dardanus, king of the Hellenes. Neither shall Helen be led back, the Tyndarid, weeping to Argos, nor down the paths of peace revisit her father's Eurotas. Death and the fire may prevail o'er us. Never our wills shall surrender, lowering Priam's heights and darkening Ilion's splendours. Not of such sires were we born, but of kings and of gods, O Larison. Not with her gold Troy traffics for safety, but with her spear points. Stand with thy oath in the war front, Achilles. Call on thy helpers armed to descend from the calm of Olympian heights to thy succour, hedging thy fame from defeat. For we all desire thee in battle, mighty to end thee or tame at last by the floods of the Xanthus. So Aeneas resonant spoke, stern, fronted like Ares, and with a voice that conquered the earth and invaded the heavens, loud they approved their doom and fulfilled their impulse immortal. Last, Deiphobus rose in their meeting, head of their melee. Proudly and well have you answered, O nation beloved of Apollo. Fearless of death, they must walk, who would live and be mighty forever. Now, for the sun is hastening up the empyrean azure, hasten we also. Tasting of food, round the call of your captains, meet in your armed companies, chariots and hoplites and archers. Strong be your hearts. Let your courage be stern, like the sun when it blazes. Fierce will the shock be today, ere he sink blood-red in the waters. They, with the voices of oceans meeting, rose from their session, filling the streets with her tread. Troy strode from her Ilion forum.